After some great racing in FS1 48 hours ago, it's time for the FS3 drivers. We've had qualifying, we've had the feature race, and we're heading into the sprint race right now. I'm Quintin, I'm joined alongside me today by Jarrod Vanderweide. Good evening to you, or good morning.
Yeah, good morning, and sorry to everyone for not being here for the feature race. My alarm managed to not go off, so we would have had Quintin on his own.
Yeah, and I never do comms on my own.
Yeah, exactly.
It's difficult enough doing it and the cameras, so
That's it. So we've just had the feature race. Yeah, would you like to run through the top three?
yes. Well, Georgios Tumales, he absolutely dominated it. Ended up with a 30-second gap to second place Eric Stanford. So EJ Engineering will be very pleased with that. And then the second of the Apex Racing cars, Wesley Stefano, took the final step on the podium, with the JP Performance guys, who are second in the constructors at the moment, only managing to get fourth and eighth. So they're going to be looking into the sprint race, looking to pick up more points and take the fight back to Apex.
Yeah, that's it. I noticed the constructors championship's pretty tight up there. But I've seen all season long, Georgios is absolutely dominating the field. He's obviously had his moments, but in outright pace, he is probably one of the quickest drivers in the field.
Exactly, considering he's had two lockouts, a pole P1 in feature race and P1 in a sprint race. He's done that at Barcelona and last time out in Austria. So this guy is super quick.
Yeah, he was also very quick last year. It's a shame we don't see him in FS1, but yeah, he's very fast in the FS3 cars, and he always has been. So maybe he's just, you know, able to control the car a lot better, because I know some FS1 drivers actually can't get a grips of these FS3 cars.
I've done a bit of testing of both FS1 this year and of FS3, and I find personally that these FS3 cars have got very little downforce on them. And I'm a driver who likes to have a really planted car. I don't care about top speed and whatnot. I'll go for downforce. Hang on.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
Thank you, Mr. R Factor Man. Always loud as ever.
Always very loud. But yeah, that's it. I also find the downforce is a good thing, but yeah, the grip levels in these cars are a lot different to the FS1 cars, that's for sure.
They're a lot more twitchy, and I think they're more setup dependent, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's it. You've got to get these setups spot on for these cars to work well, and sometimes you'll hit a master stroke, but it's very touch and go, and it obviously benefits those who are really well equipped with the setups. So we'll see how this race goes.
Exactly, and leading us off on the reverse good pole is Alton Jules Camp in the UNC car. It's great. It's one of the FS1 teams now, and they recently made the step up. In second place, we have Andreas in for League Prospect Racing. P3 for the series manager, Colin Walker, for his own team, Scouts Racing Team. P4, it's great to see Revolt that has such a good name for a team, Revolt Racing, is Kenneth Ragland. The second of the UNC teams and the FS1 USC driver, George Kapowski. Theo lines up in 6th for Tayfor. The first of the JP Performance cars with Joe Watts. The second of the SRTs, the Scouts Racing Team, with Stephen Mitchell in 8th. Damien Vuk in the first of the EJ Engineerings. The second of the Tafels with Stelios Vances completes the top 10. Peter Lane lines up in 11th place. There's a good little battle at the end of the feature race with 12th place man Wesley Stefano and 11th place man. And with a great second place in the feature race, Eric Stanford lines up on this reverse grid for second from last. It's Adam Freitas in 15th, and then our winner from in the feature race, Tumalis, lines up in 16th. So here we go, lights coming on, 3, 4 lights, and out they go, and it looks like Poleman Camp gets a great launch.
Yeah, Andreas has got a good run on the inside. He's going to try it. No, he backs off and lets Olsen take the lead.
Exactly, it looks relatively clean all through the first corner, which is great to see all these drivers completing. And look at this, I think it's Joe Watts has caught up from about 9th place and is battling for second.
Oh, we have a spin in I think that's
Andreas. That was a slight touch by Joe Watts, I think, that just sent him slightly into a spin and obviously back down the field.
Oh.
What
We've
you
just
spotted?
lost, we've just lost Theo and Wesley and Adam in an accident. Theo's on his roof, I'm afraid. Yeah, George Capusi's just retired with suspension damage.
I was just having a look at this replay. It looks quite violent as they come over the crest of the hill into turn 8. It's quite a violent crash, if I'm honest.
Indeed, yeah, it's not a great way to start for the TAFL driver Theo. He's had good speed throughout the season. Obviously, be a bit disappointed with that, but thankfully it's the sprint race, so only half points are given. So he won't lose too many points in the championship, but we'll get back to the live action now. Joe Watts is in the lead, pulling out a second, well, actually 2 seconds over Alton Jules Camp at the moment.
I think we almost went 4 wide into the turn 1, which was incredible. But as you say, Watts has pulled out an absolutely huge lead of 2 seconds already. Oh, but considering that there's all these cars in the background battling, it's no wonder he's pulling out a massive lead.
Yeah, we've just had Alton Jules having a spin there in amongst all those drivers, so a bit of a messy start, but hopefully we can calm down and get into the racing action.
Same, but the sprint races, I found this season that all the sprint races have all been relatively close, because we've had the top 10 all finishing within 30 seconds of each other, usually actually 20 seconds, and the racing has always been a bit more, what's the word, it's still fair, but it's a bit more aggressive in the sprint race, for some reason.
Yeah, well that's it, and it's good to see that they're still so close, because by the end of the race, sure it's a sprint race at the start, but by the end of the race you're actually conserving your tyres, because the sprint race is set, so by the end of the race you're actually doing longer than what your feature race first stint would be. So it's good to see how some of these drivers can manage their tyres, and whether they push hard at the start or whether they just take it easy, as we've just had Demir Vuk enter 3rd place for EJ Engineering. Stelios Bantis is up in 2nd for TAFL, so he'll be enjoying that.
Exactly, I was just looking back to the battle for 7th, there's so many drivers in that. In fact, no, the battle for 3rd is even better.
Yeah, we've got Demir Vuk, Peter Lane, who's just overtaken Demir Vuk actually, into the fast right-hander, sorry. So yeah, we've got a 3-way battle, I think it is. Yep.
Yeah, and that makes it a double, with Peter Lane now into 3rd place, it makes it a double podium for JPM Performance, so that's going to be great for them. They had a disappointing feature race, but they're coming into this sprint race and they're now in P1 and P3, so it's great for them.
Exactly, they're making up for the lost ground they lost in the feature race. So they'll be pretty pleased with that if they can keep it up, and we'll see how it progresses for the rest of the race. As we're now just about to start lap 3, I believe, just about.
And looking at the people from the podium on the feature race, they're coming through the grid pretty sharpish, because the winner, Tumalis, is now up into second, and he's very close behind second place man, Eric Stanford, second place from the feature race, sorry. So they're really shifting through the grid as he's actually just overtaken Stanford.
Yeah, there's a close battle between these two. Hopefully, with Georgios' pace, he can overtake Eric, but hopefully he doesn't do it too dangerously, as we're going to enter the fast section of the track now.
Exactly, you mentioned a track, this Zandvoort circuit, which personally for me, I've never enjoyed it that much. It's very difficult, it's very undulating, and for me it's very difficult. It's very wide, so it's you have to be putting the power on earlier than you think you can.
Yeah, exactly. I've had a few laps offline on this track, and I actually quite enjoy it. I know last season the racing was absolutely brilliant here, as we just seen Georgios Tumalis overtaking Eric into the 6th position there. He's going to be wanting to chase down Kenneth Ragland pretty fast, and also Demir Brook, so the two JP Performance drivers don't get too far away.
Exactly, I'm just looking at the timing screens, and Tumalis is only just about 6 seconds off of the lead at the moment, so he's pretty damn close, and he might be on for another lockout of the entire weekend.
Yeah, that would be a really good result for him. He would come away winning the entire event, which would be great. There's a battle for second now, with Peter Lane looking to get past Stelios Vansis, and to keep an eye on his teammate. He's going to try around the inside of the fast sections. He's going to have that move done before he even gets to the fast section. So
yeah, it looked like Vansis had a little bit of a wiggle on out of the hairpin, so as the back end broke loose, just allowed Peter Lane to get up alongside and pass him into before the massive right-hander.
that's it. That'll definitely be to do with the setup as well, and obviously skill. You know, Joe and Peter now running 1 and 2 for JP Performance. They've obviously got some skills with the setup with these cars, as they've been pretty fast throughout the year.
Exactly, I believe I'm seeing that JP Performance are also running another team at another league. I'm not sure what one, but it's great to see them expanding and whatnot. And there's similar cars to these, but it's great to see them racing in a lot of different F3 mods and whatnot.
That's it. We're just seeing Georgios Tumalis just battling with Demir Brook, and he's actually just passed him onto the last corner before he gets to the straight. So he's now running up in 4th. He'll want to chase down Stelios right now, as Joe and Peter seem to be slowly getting away from the pack.
You say that, but he's cut that set time down to the lead by and it's now, on the last lap he took out half a second, so if he can keep doing that, he'll be heading on for that lockout.
Indeed. Battle for 5th place, Demir Brook, Kenneth Ragland and Eric Stanford. It's going to get pretty tight. 2 EJ Engineering cars causing a bit of a sandwich for Kenneth Ragland. He's hoping he's not going to get swamped by Eric.
And it looks like Ragland went a little bit defensive into that hairpin complex, so it's going to really penalise him on this straight. So you see that the EJ Engineering car behind tried to get the toe, but it doesn't quite have the low enough wings on the car.
Yeah, exactly. It's all to do with downforce. You know, Eric, same as you, he really likes the car planted, and I suspect he'll be running a pretty high downforce car, so hopefully he'll get the run out of the last turn and be onto him before the end of the straight, and possibly making a bit of a late braking move. But it actually doesn't look like he's got the speed over Kenneth Racklin, so Kenneth is composing himself pretty well. We've seen in FS2 last year, Kenneth Racklin. He's got a good talent when he's got the car behind him, so maybe he's on for a good result as well.
Exactly. You mentioned the setup, and Zandvoort is one of those tracks where, although it's really quite high speed, you need the downforce at the same time because you're going through these undulating corners and whatnot at incredibly high speeds. I think they're going through some of these corners at 120 miles an hour. So that's, I'm not going to do quick maths. That's 200 kilometers an hour. There we go. That's my maths.
Yeah, we'll just go with that. I'm basing it off the speeds I was getting throughout the testing, and top speed down the straight you hit around 270. So yeah, we'll just leave it at 200. It'll be roughly around there somewhere.
Exactly, and they're going so quickly through the corners. That's where they're going to be making up all the time.
That's it, as the battle continues for 6th place there with Eric and Kenneth. Demir's just starting to pull away from the battling pack now, as I don't think he's quite catching Stelios, but Georgios has actually passed Stelios somewhere. I've missed that. He's now into 3rd on the front straight.
Well, he is definitely flying. He's set the fastest lap of 129.570, so he's really got the hammer down now.
Exactly, as Eric Stanford moves in front of Kenneth Ragland, but Kenneth's going to try and come back. No, he doesn't. I think Demir's had a moment. He's run wide in the last corner and just touched the wall there, so he's let both Eric Stanford and Kenneth Ragland through. He'll be looking to make that place back up in the next 7 laps, I think.
Exactly, and if we look at the times, the top 6 are all covered mainly within 10 seconds. We've had 7 laps of racing already, and well, there is this sprint race that has a reverse grid from the finish order of the feature race, and I really think that mixes up the entire grid. Yeah, it mixes it up, but it allows people like Kenneth Ragland to really come to the front and show what they're made of if they can get the car underneath them.
Yeah, exactly. We've also just seen Peter Lane take the lead from Joe Watts. I don't think that it was much of a battle. I think Joe actually let Peter go. It looked like he slowed down and went around the outside, so maybe some team orders here happening in the FS3 race.
Possibly, because I know they work really quite in tandem with each other when they're racing, so perhaps Peter Lane has got the ultimate pace and Joe Watts is just going to act as back gunner for him, because, well, Tumales is coming up to him really quite quickly. He's only half a second behind now, so we've got a battle lot coming here for 2nd place now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, Joe Watts has definitely not got the same speed here as Peter Lane, so he's just let Peter Lane try and get a run out ahead, and he's going to try and hold George Smolas up a little bit. But we'll see. You know, George is coming through the field very fast, so he'll probably wanting to make quick work of Joe and have the battle for the first, I think. He's going to try around the outside.
It will be very brave to do it, but if he can get the run off of this corner and try and get the inside, which he doesn't. Oh, but he does.
Oh, he's got the speed on the brakes actually. He's going to try and have the run. He's looking very racy.
It's one thing looking racy, but it's another thing trying to get past Joe Watts. I know he's quite a good defender. He's learnt a lot of skills in this FS3 car, so he's going to be putting up one hell of a fight.
Exactly. We're going to see if Georgios can get the run down the front straight here. He's got a brilliant exit, and he's going to be around the outside before he crosses the start-finish line. There we go. He's up into 2nd now.
Exactly, but it looks like there's a little bit of nudging into turn 1, so, and more nudging on the exit, so it looks like there may be a little bit of reviewing for the stewards later on.
Yeah, that's it. We've seen throughout the the season. As you said earlier, yeah, the sprint race is a lot more physical in their overtaking moves, and Georgios just tried to move across to cover Joe, but he didn't quite have the car space, and he's just nudged Joe, and he's now pulling out his gap, but he's 2.5 seconds behind Peter, so he's run wide. He's run quite wide, and he's now receded second, and Joe Watts is back up there into second.
So it'll be interesting to see if Joe Watts can. He's got 5 laps now to maintain the pace, match Tumalis's pace. So if he can get his pace up and match it, then perhaps JP will be on for, or JP Performance, sorry, might be on for a 1-2 here, which would be an incredible result for them.
Yeah, exactly. I've just noticed looking down the field, after his accident involving Theodorus, Wesley's not really making much time up on the field. So I wonder if he's driving with a little bit of damage, or maybe he pitted. I'm not too sure.
It looked like he had pitted, so considering he's only 45 seconds off the ultimate lead,
exactly.
so and that's with damage and everything. A normal pit stop takes 10 seconds around in these FS3 cars. On top of that, you got the pit lane timer and the damage to be repaired. So he's probably matching the pace of his teammate here in 3rd place.
Yeah, I didn't even know he pitted. I knew he was going around pretty slowly in the first lap, so that would make sense. So yeah, he's actually doing pretty well. He'll be disappointed with the accident, but hopefully he can take some positives out of coming back to the field if he can. We've got 4 laps to go, so Peter Lane and Joe looking pretty strong out the front, but Georgios is trying to get that 2nd place back from Joe, but Joe's just got that defensive driving on point today.
That is, we said 4 laps to go, and he's just got to keep it planted exactly where Tumalis can't get past. Because then, otherwise, the only way he's going to get past is by ramming him, and well, he'll probably get. I won't say anything, but it'll be quite. The pit stewards will come down like a ton of bricks on him.
Yeah, well, that's it. These drivers have been heavily penalised throughout the season for small incidents and their use of corner extensions. So
yeah, let's not mention Austria, where every single driver got track limit penalties.
That's it. Yeah, Georgios is trying to get that 2nd place, but Joe's just putting the car exactly where Georgios doesn't want him to. So I think Georgios will be getting quite frustrated in the car, and he wouldn't want to touch, which he just did. Luckily, they both escaped there.
It looks like Tumalis is getting quite what's the word? Hot under the collar now, because he's been locking his brakes quite a lot, and well, these cars, I've noticed it does take quite a lot to actually lock the brakes on the wheel. So Tumalis is really getting agitated that he can't get past as he goes down the inside. That was a pretty good move, actually.
That was the move of someone who wants to get that 2nd place, and they're still battling. I don't think this is over yet.
Exactly, as Joe Watts looked up the inside of the following corner, but just couldn't do it, and outbrakes himself into that corner, almost going into the rear of him.
Yeah, they're having a bit of a
argy-bargy
moment. Oh no, they've hit.
That's definitely an argy-bargy moment.
Yep, and they've both had a spin. But still the battle continues. But where are they?
They just lost a position to Stelios Vansis, so Stelios was putting in just an ordinary decent run, and clearly it's just benefit from these two being so agitated at each other.
Exactly, and you know, one person who's going to be very, very happy about this small battle that's going on is Peter Lane. Now he's 9 seconds ahead of Stelios Vansis, so he's got quite a gap for the remaining 2 laps. So he'll be quite pleased with this.
Exactly, and well, Stelios Vansis is from the small mistake by 3rd and 4th place men. He's now got a 2-second gap to him, so he might be looking for a sudden podium when he was in fourth a lap ago.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about these cars. You never know what's going to happen. I think it was Fuji Speedway where the top five just constantly kept changing and changing and changing, and it seems like it's happened here as well. But Peter Lane's got himself a nice steady lead, and I think he's just going to cruise to the end now. Or I say that, and he's actually pulled more time out of Stelios Vansis, so maybe he's not going to cruise as we thought.
Well, we have seen that Vansis' time has been a couple of tenths off the ultimate pace of other drivers, so he might be looking to defend on this. Well, he's definitely going to have to defend with Tumalis, his fellow Greek compatriot, who's looking to the inside. Will he lock up again? No, he doesn't, but he nudges Vansis on midway on the apex, so he's clearly getting really, really agitated here, the championship leader.
Yeah, he's looking rather shaky trying to overtake, and he's losing the rear, so I agree. I think he's getting quite hot-headed in the cockpit there. He knows he's got the pace to get first, and he's just not composing himself, unfortunately. But battle for second is going on, so we'll see if Stelios can hold out for Tafor in second place for the next 2 laps. I think it is remaining 2 laps.
Half a lap actually.
Oh wow, okay. I think Peter Lane's gonna be quite happy.
Exactly. It's surprising that Tumalis is being so feisty at the moment, because he's got such a large championship lead that maybe it's just that he wants to go for that third lockout of the weekend.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's got quite a lead in the championship, so he can settle for third place. As sprint race, he's not going to lose too many points to first. But here we go. Peter Lane crosses the line, first place. Brilliant job for JP Performance. He'll be pretty happy with that.
It's going to be close on second photo finish, but it looks like Vansis for Tafor got it with Tumalis winning the feature race and then getting a third place in the sprint race. That's pretty damn good.
Exactly, yeah. We've got the JP Performance drivers lining up next to each other, obviously giving each other a bit of a congratulations, and we'll see how this ends, because I think there's going to be a couple of angry drivers at the end of this race.
Exactly. It was just to round out the finishes. Joe Watts for the second JP Performance car came in fourth, and then Eric Stanford for EJ Engineering fifth. His teammate in sixth, Damien Foot. Kenneth Ragland held on to seventh place from Wesley Stefano, who was pushing him quite a bit, finishing almost within a second of seventh place. And then the final finish of the race was Adam Freitas in ninth place.
So we only had 9 finishes, did we?
Yes, I think there were 6. DNFs, Colin Walker, Stephen Mitchells, both the Scouts Racing team out. The poleman, the reverse grid poleman, Alton Jules Camp, he retired, Andreas retired, Capusi retired, and Theo retired at the start there.
Yeah, that's a shame. Obviously, a bit of an up and down for Tafor, as we have Stelios Vansis taking out second place, but yeah, as you say, Theo not able to finish a lap with that major accident at the start of the race.
Exactly, it's unfortunate for them, but they move on to the next race, and that's going to be, well, it's going to be great. FS3 is always great racing, I find.
Exactly, I'm not too sure what the next race
Attention
is.
grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Sorry, I just had the R Factor man shouting in my ear.
Yep, and talking of the next track, is heading for the second of the fantasy rounds, the kind of mini championship we have going on here involved in the entire season, where there's 3 rounds of fantasy tracks. So we kicked off with Grand Valley, which is round 3 of the championship, and next time out, round 10, we head to Magnificent Park.
That's a tough track for these drivers. It's a pretty long circuit. They'll enjoy it though. I don't know if you've noticed, but the fantasy tracks are actually based off the Gran Turismo tracks. I'm not too sure which which volume the game was, but I think the admins have got a thing for the Gran Turismo, and it's good. You know, the R factor conversions for these, they've actually done it pretty well. So the tracks are great. I know in pre-season testing the times are pretty close for these tracks, so hopefully we'll have some good racing again. As you say, it's always good racing in FS3, so
Exactly, and that little fancy championship that is going on, it's actually Jack Mayer who leads that with a first in the feature race at Grand Valley, and then a 5th place in the sprint race. So he's leading at the moment.
exactly. As yep, I can confirm that the drivers are pretty angry, especially Joe and Georgios. Having a bit of a battle of words here. It's not the place to be doing it. They'll be told to protest. As we finished off the FS3 weekend. Good weekend of racing overall, I would say.
Exactly. We had FS1 48 hours ago on Friday, so that was incredible racing. Great with all the strategy, and then FS3, the feeder series to FS1 now this year. It's a great place for all the drivers to learn their skills, or just refine them a little bit more, give them more opportunity on the track.
That's it. You know, as you say, the downforce levels are completely different, and some drivers prefer these cars. But yeah, some drivers are actually using these cars to learn the setups, and to gain that skill. It's going to be helpful for future FS1 races and other leagues, especially as you said, Joe and Peter racing different leagues, and it's really helping them out. So it's great to see.
Exactly. So as we wrap it up here from Zandvoort, it was Georgios Tumalis who took the feature win, and then was it Joe Watt? No, Peter Lane took the sprint race win. So I've been Quintin playing.
And alongside with me, Jarrod Vanderweide.
Exactly, and remember to join us in 2 weeks for FS1 and FS3. See you later.
Ciao.